Let's hope this goes well. Welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. Okay, so today is wow, my voice is off. Today is January 10th. Got to see my first movie of 2019. Unfortunately, it's not a 2019 movie. It's a 2018 movie. Well, not unfortunately, because this is a fantastic movie if you haven't seen it yet. I'm talking about Vice, which, when you hear the title, thinks to be about drugs. Not the case. It's about former Vice President Dick Cheney. This is another one of Adam McKay's movies on his movies about serious topics are weird because there are a number of things he does in them that are truly unique. He has first of all, it watches like a documentary. Or a documentary with everything dramatized in the middle of it, but they present facts in the way a documentary would, especially a Michael Moore documentary, which kind of looks like what he's doing, but I hate to say this, in a much better way than Michael Moore does, where I feel like I get more out of it when I watch one of these than when either this or The Big Short previously. I feel like I get more out of it than watching Fahrenheit 11/9 or any number of other documentaries by Michael Moore. So the movie's about former Vice President Dick Cheney's ascent to power, how he wanted to use the executive branch to basically get absolute power. And one of the other things that he does in all of these movies, if you watch The Big Short, you know what I'm talking about, if you haven't seen this yet, where he explains things to you in very easy to understand terms to make things that seem like big broad concepts that are hard to understand, make them digestible to everyone, because not everyone is a financial not everyone's a financial expert who's trading on the stock market. Not everyone is a lawyer or a scholar in constitutional law. So these things need to be explained. So one of the big key concepts in this movie that you need to understand is the unified executive theory, and they explain it to you in very simple terms what that is, how it works, and what it means, and it's very and that's important going forward in the movie to make sure that you understand everything that's going on. He doesn't do it with celebrity guest stars. He has someone playing young Antonin Scalia explain it to you in this one. But it's a very interesting all-around approach of how it's handled. So that's another thing that's done very well in this movie. Now, the third thing that he's done in both this and The Big Short is this sense of dread, because both of these things happened in the very recent past, where The Big Short happened in 2008, the majority of it, where it's in the lead up to the housing crisis. This movie, it's a little bit further back, and in a sense, the way the movie functions is that you can watch it as a prequel to The Big Short, because they explain how all the deregulation happened and all of that stuff. That's expanded on how it impacted the stock market in The Big Short. Here we see what the political aspect of it was that led into the financial crisis. So but leading up to it, the big crux, the big moment in this movie is not him becoming vice president. The big moment is him advocating for the start of the war in Iraq, which we now know is, for people my age, what Vietnam was, or previous generations, where the war we didn't really need to get involved in. It was just a waste of American lives, international lives, the civilians of Iraq, and it was just a terrible thing all around. We know this now. At the time, they spent a lot of time showing you how it got to that point, how they went through and they made everyone basically be afraid, and how they did the terrorist job for them, and then how they did that and how that caused where we are today, because they explain the origins of ISIS and all of these other broad concepts that we're still dealing with to this day, now 16 years later, after the start of Operation Iraqi Freedom. And it's done so well. He's such a great director with this when he does this kind of stuff, where it's juxtaposing one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Bush is addressing from the Oval Office, talking about the fact that they started the invasion of Iraq, and they're doing that. They show that, and he has his leg is like twitching under his desk, and then it goes to in Iraq, and you see a family huddled underneath a table. In a house, and there's the bombings happening all around them. You hear the explosions and everything, and it cuts to the guy. It slowly pans the same way to the guy huddling his family, and his legs twitching the same way for nerves, but for two entirely different reasons. The movie makes Bush out to be a little bit of a patsy, who's just being strung along by Cheney, and how it's like Cheney just wanted all of this. They go out of their way to make Bush look stupid. I don't know how accurate it is, and the movie even has that in the beginning. It's like this is based on a true story. That said, there's a lot we don't know because of how secretive Cheney was, but fuck it, we tried. Oh no, but we did our fucking best is the line at the beginning of the movie. So like they acknowledge there's a lot they don't know, and they're extrapolating based on information that they do know what happened. And there's a lot of the movie does a lot of really cool things to to help us along. Like when he's weighing the options on whether or not to be the vice president. I didn't look up which Shakespeare play it is, but from what I can remember from Shakespeare, it seemed like it was Macbeth. Maybe not. I could be wrong. At the very end, when he's addressing when he's on like a 60-minute style interview, he turns to the camera in a very House of Cards kind of way. The immediate thing I thought of is when he was telling, it's like, I could feel the judgment on you. I was fairly certain in the beginning of it that he was doing the speech when he kills the dog in the beginning of the pilot of House of Cards. He's like, I can feel the judge. I think that's what it is. I know it's definitely from an episode of House of Cards. I don't remember which one. But it's so well done. It makes Cheney, who to I'm assuming a lot of people, because I know like me especially, I didn't know how terrible a person that Cheney was. They didn't really make that, like, that's not something that the media ever made clear, that Cheney was the one who was running everything, and this movie seems to imply that Cheney was the one who was functionally running the foreign policy of the White House during the Bush administration. I don't know why I'm having that issue with the microphones. But yeah, if you haven't seen this movie yet, it's still in theaters. I'm assuming it's still in theaters. I don't know how much longer. I feel like it's doing a 4-year consideration run to try and get people to see it now that it's got the Golden Globe nominations, and Christian Bale just won Best Actor at the Golden Globes in a drama for his role as Dick Cheney. And I think that's why I'm taking a more extended theatrical run. So I don't know how much longer it's going to be in theaters, but I would definitely advise you see this movie in theaters. It's so good and it's so well done. And yeah, so tomorrow I got if Beale Street could talk, and we'll wrap it up there for today. For this movie, if you haven't seen it, absolutely go see it. Yeah. So have a good rest of the week.